So hi, my name's Caleb. I'm here to give a talk on potential incident response in relation to malware breaches specifically. I won't be talking about SQL injection or any of that fun stuff today. This is more or less brutal truth that you need to hear. So get going here. So before we get started, who the hell am I? My name's Caleb. Some people in some circles call me Chill. Catch me out late at night, you're probably going to tell me to chill because I get a little wild. I'm a senior malware analyst at Media Trust. Media Trust and my talk have nothing to do with one another, operate on two separate ends of the spectrum. They do content verification, SSL verification, things like that. I analyze malware. I'm one of the only malware people at my work right now. So I'm the founder of the CarolinaCon Shootout. If any of you come to CarolinaCon and you like to shoot guns, if you came here, you may like to shoot guns. So stop by. We get together Friday before CarolinaCon. We shoot for like 4 hours, and then we head off to get our badges and registration. Hackers.withguns.com if anyone's interested. And I'm a dirty white hat. I'm not just wearing one. I am a dirty white hat. I started out as a black hat, worked my way to gray. I don't call it a gray hat because only hipsters wear gray hats, and I'm no fucking hipster. So I'm also your Huckleberry. If anyone's ever worked at a startup before, you know you're going to be a Swiss Army knife no matter what your job title is. Last company, I was your Huckleberry, but if you show up to my shootout, it's a different kind of Huckleberry. So please indulge in both of those Huckleberries. So into the gray. We're going to get into the gray area, which is post-infection response. This is basically from the organic infection level to the analyst level. It's the space in between that no one talks about. People get breached. Most sysadmins just format and image and keep going. So we're going to get into a little bit of that. Malware breach response methodologies, good and bad. Hopefully, most of you have good practices in mind already. But if you don't, hopefully I'll enlighten you today. Some battle planning and dumb tools. So I'm going to go over just some tools that I've used and methods to find new tools, which is something a lot of people don't think about, even at AV companies. This doesn't really enter into their minds. They think just I'm going to run sysinternals, we're going to be straight. There's a lot of other tools out there that do much better things. Sysinternals is great, but you need to move a little past that to actually get into the response methodology. So, why is post-infection such a gray area? Does anyone have an opinion on this? This is a real question.
So I'm going to say because you're balancing recovery to get back to operations versus preserving evidence or other security-like things that you would want to do.
Awesome answer. And yeah, that's definitely one major point. A lot of people just make it go away as fast as possible. Call the AV company, you might have some free removals or something, but you're actually giving them your samples from your own network, so it's not really the best thing ever. But yeah, the quick recovery is one major factor. You just want to get Steve in HR back to work. He needs to hire more people. So we're going to go over that stuff, but the major thing is overreliance on antivirus. Symantec published an article a few years ago saying antivirus is dead. It's not dead. There could have been dead, but antivirus is not dead. It's just not antivirus anymore. Antivirus, it's not going to stop those viruses nowadays. The antivirus just doesn't work for it anymore. What it is a breach detection mechanism for your network for a malware breach. It's not going to stop it and tell you, oh, hey, this is incoming. You better do something. It's going to let you know after you're already screwed, potentially generically what you're screwed with. And by generically, some detections actually say generic in the detection name. So how are they going to respond to that? They're going to respond to it very generically. Second thing is malware persistence techniques. You're not going to know there's an infection if you don't know there's an infection. If it's not actually popping something up on the user's screen, how are they going to know if they're infected? They have no idea what root it does. They have no idea why their Google results keep getting redirected every time they do a Google search. They came up with a neat little trick basically to copy the URL, paste it in the browser and just go like that. But, you know, the virus is actually inside the browser, it's hooked into it, redirecting everything. Or it's hooked in a rootkit level, just redirecting network traffic. Malware persistence techniques, crypto locker, great malware persistence techniques. It's going to persist. There's nothing you can do about it. Try to crack it with test encrypt stuff that came out, you know, where they screwed up in the code and let everyone have the key, but that's not the only variant of ransomware, unfortunately. So crypto locker is an in-your-face persistence technique, whereas a targeted attack may be on your network for months, and it doesn't want you to know it's there, and you probably won't know it's there if you're only relying on AV. The third point I want to make about this is the most important point, and it's the point where most organizations fall short, even some SOCs, unfortunately. So lack of exposure and training. How many people in this room have actually dealt with an executable, a malware executable, like literally had someone say, this is 100% malicious, do something with it? Yeah, sometimes there's less, sometimes there's more, but it's hard just knowing what to do with an executable that, you know, your boss may have handed you. So what the hell happened? You'll find out. What are you going to do? Upload the virus total? No, don't do that. Virus total is a beautiful tool, but I'll get into that a little bit here. But if you have people in your organization that go to security cons like BSides Asheville, or you know, you have someone that wears hacker t-shirts to work in your IT department, like quiz that dude or that woman and say, hey, you know, what do you know about malware? And just by the look in their eyes, you'll know if they like malware or not, and stoke that fire. It doesn't require, and not to get on the first talk of BSides Asheville, but it doesn't require college education. Malware is very dynamic, it changes from day to day, sometimes hour to hour. There's no book you can read on the latest piece of malware that came out. It's all on the internet, so take advantage of it. You know, Google to your heart's content about malware. Just don't get malware from Googling. Avoid Google images. Great source of malware. So we're going to talk about 3 malware breach responses. They're just grouped together kind of generically, but I figured I would really drop some truth on you today. So first, nuke and pave, and then WTF, and then proper response. So if you may be the first one, if you're the second one, we can talk outside, so I'm probably going to fight you. And the third one, I hope everyone in this room is already knowledgeable about proper malware breach response. Keep in mind, there's incident response teams, there's SOCs. Make sure someone on there knows malware. You'd be surprised in situations I've come across where they're like scratching their heads, having to rely on outside sources because they themselves have never even set up like a small malware environment to just test things with. So the first response plan I'm going to go over is nuke and pave. It's probably the most familiar that everyone's familiar with, really. You image the machine, you format the machine, you image it, and then you get, you know, Steve and HR back to work. Great. It's a quick recovery, but you basically screwed yourself out of data. You eliminated evidence for the person that put malware on your machine, or on whoever's machine, whatever important person this resides on. You kind of just screwed them because you have no idea what data has been exfiltrated from their machine. So it is quick recovery. If you're going to do this, I call it lazy admin kung fu. When you come across a malware infection on a network, you actually have a fully organic infection. That computer was infected the way it was meant to be infected through a proper exploit kit, through various vectors, through your browser, or whatever. It's infected. You have that organic infection. If you played with malware before, you know how you can't just run a piece of malware. Like, it checks for a lot of things. So you can't just run it and expect it to do the same thing as it's doing when it came through the exploit kit properly. They could be VMware. Hopefully you run physical machines for some of your analysis, but it's really good to have an image of that infected machine. Even if your boss or anything doesn't require that, you have that image to play with. Put it on a VM, image it to an old Dell and play with it. See what you can find out about it. See where it resides. If you analyze all the file locations, start auditing your network. Look for those locations across the network, because if you run a network on a bank or something like that, more than likely it's not the only node infected. So the second methodology I'd like to talk about, and hopefully not scream about, is WTF. And you can, the W doesn't just stand for what, it kind of stands for why sometimes, and sometimes it stands for a combination of both, because you're so taken back by, like, it's been infected for months, and you don't care. It's either you don't have anyone as a resource in your company that's going to find this stuff, or you're literally dragging the fake AV window to the corner of your screen to keep working. You may have gotten hit with a fake Word document or something, and you're still using Word. I've seen this so many times. It's the rage that made me do this talk, basically, is I've seen this on lawyer networks, I've seen this on hospital networks, I've seen this on small medical office networks. It's insane, but they don't care. And I'm not sure if they don't care because they don't know. But now that malware is like in the news, they should care. They still don't. It's the problem. So what do I say when someone has asked me to get on their network? I get on and I find executables with timestamps that are 5 months old. Come on. Like, what? How long has this been going on? What is wrong with you that you would just not care? Crypto locker. I've seen people literally just set that computer aside and move on and have their IT department image a new one and just keep working. And that computer, I'll follow up and ask, hey, what about that crypto locker machine? Oh, it's still next to Barbara's desk. We just don't run it anymore. I guess that's a good way to keep them from exfiltrating data, but that's not a good solution. So yeah, don't do that. Don't be these people. We'll fight at some point. So the proper malware breach response is really removal and analysis. And when I say analysis, I don't mean reverse engineering. Reversing is fun. It's highly interesting. But if you're just working in an IT department and you're kind of into malware, you're not going to start reversing things. Your boss finds you reversing things. It's going to ask you what the hell you're doing with your time, because you're not actually giving good data back in a proper fashion, in a proper timeline after the breach has happened. You're sitting there, buggers, playing and having fun, but it's not the same thing as actual behavioral analysis. Find out what happened on the network, go out, find other artifacts, and see if you can find other infected nodes. So, first thing you should do is get some damn memory out. So, I understand with memory nowadays, a lot of boxes have like 8 gigs. So if you have an office in Seattle and your IT department, the majority of your sysadmin or something is in Florida, that's 8 gig memory dump. Unless you have a really fast connection, which other people in IT are probably going to start complaining if you're transferring 8 gigs from one quarter of the country to the other. The fastest, especially over like something like TeamViewer or Join Me or something like that. If you have a VPN with an FTP site or even SCP, that's even going to be slow. I mean, it's 8 gigs. I don't even pirate movies that big. So if you are in a remote situation, there are different ways to approach this. So if you open up Process Explorer, which we'll get into, and you see Explorer.exe using like maybe 2 megs of memory, that's suspicious. Maybe you should dump that process's memory individually. It's better than nothing. You may get that out of it, you may not. If you actually have an analyst that you're going to pass it to, he'll be buying you a bottle of wine afterwards because you got that organic memory dump, at least at the process level. So get all you can, basically. Second thing is something that a lot of people don't take into account, and this is particularly harmful if you're worried about someone exfiltrating your data. So the first thing I do, basically, other than dump some memory, is fire a Wireshark or another machine on the same subnet. You're going to get a lot of traffic. I mean, it's a full network. You can filter Wireshark, but that doesn't lessen the size of the PCAP. But if you get that PCAP, get it for like 30, 60 minutes. Look through that PCAP for that IP, for that infected node. See how much traffic, see where it's going. See what's going and coming. And basically, if it's actually exfiltrating files, you can run something like Foremost against it, or Bro, and actually carve the files out of the PCAP, so you can actually see the data. Question?
in terms of running Wireshark against a machine on the network, how do you gauge whether or not to allow basically the cost benefit of allowing that machine to run live for an extra 30 or 60 minutes versus putting it in a VM and running it that way in a sandbox where it's not actually being able to reach out to anything? How do you determine whether or not, okay, this time we're going to let it run live for a little while longer at the risk of maybe infecting other machines, or put it in a VM and sandbox it where we might not get all the same information about the instructions being sent back to it or something like that?
Well, so first, there's a lot of malware that's VMware. So it may obfuscate, it may increase its encryption if it detects it's running VM. The risk for doing this, in my opinion, is very little. If that node's been infected, it's been infected for at least an hour already. If you're on a corporate network, the more bandwidth you have, the faster your data gets exfiltrated. It's the price we pay for fast internet. Letting it run for 30 to 60 minutes isn't going to do really anything for you, except get the PCAP for you so you can analyze it. A lot of forensic investigators, when they show up on scene, the first thing they actually do, digital forensic investigators, don't unplug the machine, don't unplug the network cable. There's a lot of malware that actually has traps set up, little tripwires. I've encountered executables that if you actually try to remove a DLL from where it put it, it would disable the network part. It would take it completely out of system devices. In this case, if you have a targeted attack and they are exfiltrating data, and you pull the plug right in the middle of them exfiltrating a file, they're going to say, ooh, let's move on. And the way they're saying, if you come into the executable or whatever they're running on there, but this isn't going to hurt. It's just good to have, especially if they are exfiltrating data and find out why. But I can see what you're saying. It is a little risky to let it run, but forensic investigators specifically will tell you, do not unplug the network, especially because malware actually could be listening to see, hey, why is the network connection down but the power's up? That's suspicious activity from an extreme black hat perspective.
What about, let me ask, TCP will recover a little bit of a bleep. So if you're running in with your packet capture machine with your T-splitter on the Ethernet cable, just unplugging and plugging it back in, is the malware going to detect that?
Yes.
Cool.
If it's in mid-file transfer, hell yeah, it will. And if I'm on your network in this kind of fashion, I'm going to be taking everything I can that's valuable, which hopefully you're the CEO, and I'm just taking all your documents, which may take a while. CEOs take a while. So, no offense to any CEOs, but you guys take a lot. Manual malware extraction is very important. It's not only good for the organization as a whole to get that executable or DLL or whatever artifact you can find, it's actually good for your own self-awareness of malware. So the more you approach this stuff, and this gets into exposure and training, the more you deal with malware, the more you look for it, the more places you find it in, the more places you actually catalog in the back of your head to look on the next one. Every incident responder that deals with malware has a list of places on the system they look immediately, no matter what. They unhide all the files. They look in the recycle bin directories, Windows directories, app data, roaming, stuff like that. All good hiding places. Program data especially. Adobe folders especially, as a matter of fact. So it's not only beneficial to your organization to get the sample, but it's beneficial because you're actually teaching yourself as you go. If you encounter a new piece of malware that just came out this morning and it's doing different things than every other piece of malware that you've ever seen, you've learned something. And the last point I want to make on this is automated sandbox environment, or manual analysis if you have the time. Automated sandbox environment is not going to replace an analyst. I'm not going to say that because sandboxing has its limits. I hate using the term sandboxing. I feel like a kid with a Mac sitting next to me in a sandbox, basically. So automated sandboxing, what's the value? You have a cuckoo set up, you have an image for the type of software HR uses, you have an image for the type of software IT uses, finance, support, whatever. you have all these images that are real images that you use in the company. You have all the software installed, basically the same patch levels, and hopefully you only have at least one version of Java installed. If you have more, shame on you. If you need it, I'm sorry, but you don't need more than one version. I don't care which you do. So, automated sandboxing, why is it valuable? You get an executable, you want to find out some data immediately, you throw it in the automated sandbox, it runs for 5 minutes, it gives you back a report of some sort at the end, basically. You can render it however you want, PDF, if you like to read XML or JSON, have fun. But it's going to tell you where that malware seed itself on the system. It's going to tell you what DLLs it dropped, what DLLs it's talking to. It's going to show you all the Windows API calls it's making. It's going to give you a lot of data really quickly, and even with Cuckoo or some commercial sandboxes, they're going to give you a PCAP output as well. So you're going to have that whole system set up. You're going to have a PCAP, you're going to have your organic PCAP, and the PCAP you got from the sandboxing environment. Then you can actually correlate and find out what the difference is in the traffic based on those two particular IPs, getting back to your question. So while it is important to get initial packet capture, if you have a sandbox environment, you don't have PCAP set up in that sandbox environment, you're doing yourself a disservice. But don't rely 100% on sandboxing. I was reading something earlier that someone came out with anti-cuckoo. Basically, it defeats cuckoo sandbox like every single time. Allegedly, I haven't tried it.
It's a timing thing, and there's indicators that it's a timing thing. There's indicators that it's running in a VM, and just about detonate and not doing it.
Yeah.
So, and Cuckoo Box, of course, is the premier for that.
Gotcha. Yeah, unfortunately, VMware, you're going to use it as virtualization. And I understand a lot of you work in government. You have to have something that can be licensed. Been there, done that. VMware sucks for malware analysis because everyone looks for it. The communication channel is very easy to detect. It doesn't matter how you obfuscate your VMware files or anything. You're going to go virtualization. Go like VirtualBox or like KVM or something other than VMware. If you have to use VMware, you're still going to get analysis, but if it's VMware, it's either going to obfuscate itself or not do anything sometimes. Question?
So with that in mind, would you say that running a VDI environment actually offers sort of benefit for preventing malware infections?
Not preventing, making the malware run. Really, if the malware detects virtualization, a fake antivirus, for instance, like a WinWebSec variant or something. So it pops a fake AV window up. It tricks the user into putting credit card information, it may steal data, it's on a bot or something like that. If you run that on a physical machine and you make it look like, well, I tell everyone, make it look like your grandma's computer because she's highly prone to get computer viruses. It will run very well on that physical machine. You can take the same exact OS, same everything, just almost down to the hardware, run it in the VM, and the window won't pop up. Or it connects to different IPs. It will connect to American IPs that may just be dummy VPSs set up to throw you off because you're trying to analyze the sample.
I think, were you asking about detecting or asking about just run everything under a VM and you're actually less likely to get infection vectors because you're like, oh, this is a VM, this is a VM.
Yeah, I mean,
well, that's a great idea, but I don't know anyone that's going to do that. We're talking about regular workers here, so.
well, VDI's becoming a big thing, like the virtual desktop infrastructure.
They are.
Everything's kind of.
But large corporations, yeah. But they have whole incident response teams in multiple countries. They're well prepared for this already. This is about the people that aren't, basically. So, yeah, it would be nice to run just an ESX and give everyone their own VM, have them log in to Visa and do all their work every day. But if you think about normal users and the fact that they can't even create great passwords, and they're calling you about, I was talking to someone yesterday, picked up the phone to help IT, and it was like, a woman called about her printer not working, and she said the lights were out, her laptop was on because the battery was still on.
Right.
You got to think about the people you're going to be dealing with in relation to the virtualization. So you may increase your support costs tremendously by virtualizing, but I mean, if you can do it, do it.
Yeah, let's talk a bit more about this after your talk.
Another thing you can actually run on your network, and I'm pretty familiar with this technology, is have you ever heard of Ronix defreeze? Defreeze, and there are exploits against it. Defreeze will actually freeze part of your system, kind of snapshotted in not the whole image. You can actually make areas that are dynamic that you can keep files in that change, like someone's documents folder or something. But every time you reboot this machine, and you can configure it differently, it literally goes back to the original state it was in. Now, there's malware out there that specifically targets front. I've seen on some really darknet forums, I've actually seen exploits that like eliminate the password for it. So that would actually let the malware. Malware looks for frauds the same way it looks for VMs. So I'd like to make that clear as well. So if you run Ronix on a physical machine to do malware analysis, you may want to just image the machine and keep a clean image on another partition rather than run Ronix. But a lot of school districts run Ronix because it's just easy. If you get a virus infection, reboot. If it's still there, they image it. But it's at least kept it from getting to core parts of the system, maybe. So, battle planning. Provide training to your people or someone. If you don't have someone in your IT department, if you don't have a SOC or an incident response team, and let's face it, half companies don't. You may have a contract with an incident response company, but does anyone know malware on it? Inquire about this when you're signing up for this contract. Do you have anyone malware specific? Define malware specific. Can they deal with malware breach? Make sure to ask these questions if you're negotiating an incident response contract, because you may be surprised who ends up on the other end responding to your incidents. So there are multiple response solutions. Network breaches, single node breaches, false positives. Network breaches, obviously, the point of this is if your organization doesn't have one sentence in place to say, if malware breach occurs, have a cup of Starbucks coffee or something. Like anything, one sentence. A lot of organizations lack one sentence. They have no policy. It's not even about a policy. I mean, send an email out. Look, malware breach response, IT department. Here's what we're going to do. Stage 1, don't unplug the machine. Stage 2, fire shark, get a packet capture. Go through all this stuff. And I've even gone as far as to build a wiki, a Doki wiki, just as a mini response wiki. Just for our IT department. I led a malware response team basically. And our IT department didn't know malware. So I built a wiki for them so they could respond, so they wouldn't bother us really. But they bothered the shit out of us. So single node breaches, network breaches. If it's a network breach, find out how many nodes are infected. Single node breach. Or if you have a small office, it's not hard to tell what node's infected. Maybe it is. False positives are a big deal. So a lot of people think, I'm going to see these false positives. I'm going to upload this to VirusTotal. Well, if you work at a bank or a doctor's office and this was a targeted attack specifically against your organization, and you upload that whole file to VirusTotal, I don't know if anyone knows this, but Google owns VirusTotal. Google monetizes data like nobody's business. So when you upload your targeted attack to VirusTotal, you just send it to their analysts to analyze, and your company name may be in that PDF or that Word document. Like something specifically pertaining to your company may be in that file. You just gave it to someone that is the biggest search engine on the planet. What you can do though is get the MP5 and throw the hash there. VirusTotal doesn't know what the hash is. A really good example of this is if anyone's used Metasploit, you better use Metasploit here. But Veil Framework, check it out. No one's ever heard of it. A couple of red teamers got sick of their payloads, like literal executables getting picked up by AD. So they were just emailing them in, trying different vectors. Well, they coded a Metasploit add-on that basically uses I think it's Python wrapper, and every single executable it generates, and it's scriptable, you can generate like 1,000 a minute. Every single executable it generates the hash is unknown virus total, and they built in a small checker so people wouldn't upload their payloads, and it just hashes it, and it verifies that virus total doesn't have a hash. So if you do get hit with a targeted attack, give them the hash, and good luck. Google, have that hash. It's out there somewhere else for something else, but don't upload targeted attacks to Google unless you work for them. But check out Web Framework as well. Really nifty. I've used it not only for kind of pseudo red teaming events, I've used it actually to test appliances that had AV SDKs in them, where they wanted to test the kind of machine learning and stuff at the other end, but they didn't have any samples that were getting by the SDKs, and all of a sudden I scripted like 5,000 and just SMTP'd them out basically to their server. They're like, where are all these coming from? Why isn't AV detecting them? Because AV is weak. That's exactly why. But if you want to see how weak AV is, play with Bell Framework and you'll be maybe pleasantly or unpleasantly surprised. So have multiple defense methods. Run AV. Just don't count on it like you used to. Have perimeter defenses. Have appliances at your perimeter that filter everything. Email filters. This is common sense stuff. But just have them there. A lot of people say, oh, well, I already have all that stuff, but there's no way I'm going to get an infection. How would you get around something like FireAmp or some heavy-duty network appliance that's going to filter all this stuff? Well, I'm probably going to put a business suit on, walk through the front door of your organization, hand your receptionist a flash drive, and say it's for Bob. Because Bob definitely works at whatever company, or Steve, or John, or this is for, you may have done recon, and the CTO or something. Oh yeah, this is for Josh, the CTO. I gotta run to lunch. I have another meeting. Can you make sure he gets this? With any luck, she'll plug it in. Or just, in fact, a bunch of flash drives with auto run work and just throw them in the parking lot. I mean, it's as good as brute forcing stupid passwords. You're depending on stupidity as well. You're just depending on it. Them to bring the stupidity through the front door for you. So have defense methods, but have common sense about it too. Even if you have all the stuff, you're still at risk. You're going to get a malware breach somewhere someday. Don't plan on not getting breached. Don't plan on Walmart. Defenses are good. Plan to get breached. As dirty as that sounds. Also, audit your damn network. Like I was saying, how many versions of Java do you run on your network? I understand people run legacy applications. People are dependent on Java. You shouldn't have 8 versions of it. You shouldn't have Java runtime environment 5 installed on your machine, on any machine. If you're running legacy software that old, you need to talk to your CFO. Because you need to upgrade, you're probably out of support anyways for that software if it runs on such legacy Java. But yeah, don't install Java unless you need it. I'm not going to rave about Java, but how many of you actually need Flash installed on your network? How many of you absolutely need it? You work for a marketing firm, you do crazy stuff? I didn't think so. But productivity is going to go down if you remove Flash from your network because Jason can't watch YouTube while he's coding or something. There is HTML5, but HTML5 is getting a little critical. I've seen some bad things about it. But Flash, it's on everything already. It's highly exploitable. There's new exploits come out every week now. If you need Flash, monitor it. Do audits often, just on Flash. It seems tedious, but when it's #1 attack vector other than Internet Explorer, right? If you run it, you need to actually audit that specifically, not just the whole machine. If you think about QuickBooks and all this other software you run in there, it doesn't need audited. Things that can actually be vectors specifically, you need to keep track of. If someone needs all those legacy versions of Java on their machine, keep an eye on that node. Have some kind of network set up or network monitoring set up specifically for those nodes. There's a few different ways you can do it. Stand there all day and actually talk about that, but we're going to move on a little bit to tools of the trade. And basically, these are just some tools that I've used and I found that help the situation. So these aren't going to be tools that are going to remove the malware. There's no automated removal things I'm going to go over like Hitman or anything like that. these are down and dirty tools. These are, you're on the machine, what do you do next? How am I going to find this? What's it hooked into? So the first tool I'd like to talk about is Process Explorer by System Terminals. This is what Task Manager should have been for like 10 years now. It's not, it will never be. Windows is about to cease to exist, thank goodness. But as you can see here, I'm basically creating a process dump for this individual process. And this wasn't on an infected machine. I just picked the VBox get service process. You can do a memory dump. This is what I was speaking about earlier. It's easy to do a full memory dump. There's tons and tons of utils out there. But individual process memory dumps do help, especially with the analyst at the end who actually has to look at this stuff. Another thing about Process Explorer is you can search for hooked DLLs and handles. So if any of you remember Zero Access when it first came out, it was embedding itself into a lot of executables, and the file structure for Zero Access was like a couple folders with single letters, an @ symbol, and then a couple just artifacts with single letters. So we started searching, and you can't just search the whole system for N. You're going to come back with way too many results. Everything has an N in it in a computer. So if you notice, I'm looking for the @ symbol, and you can see I have Ghost reinstalled on whatever browser that is, with Firefox. The reason I'm using the @ symbol in this example is because the @ symbol in Zero Access was the key to us finding how deeply it was hooked into the system. So we did a handle search for this and found it was hooked into services.exe. It was hooked into smss.exe. Everything that if you shut down, the computer's going to wipe. It was going to blue screen specifically because when the computer blue screens, it dumps the memory out. So when you reboot it, there's no chance of you getting what was in the memory at that point out. And that's the tripwire technique I was speaking about earlier. How are you going to unhook that from services.exe? It's running every service on your box. So, but you at least know it's hooked in. You can find this with any file. So if you find a file name in a malware directory that you found, do a search on it. You'll be surprised what it's hooked into. You'll be surprised what it's not hooked into. This is getting to the properties for each process. So one neat feature I found, and this is not the newest version of System Terminals, there was a new version that came out pseudo recently. You notice there's a virus little box down here, and you can submit. It does a hash differential. It checks the hash for you. So it's not sending explore.exe using 700 kilobytes to Google, basically. It's checking the hash. So Microsoft, in all their wisdom, I'm not sure if they're responsible for that particular feature, probably not, but it's a really neat feature. This is basically process properties on steroids. You can look at the strings, you can look at TCP/IP activity security, the performance, disk usage, all that great stuff. One thing I find really interesting on this is the strings. So strings in malware are, you run strings against an executable or whatever, it's going to print out all the readable ASCII strings in that file. If you're running against an executable, it's going to be a bunch of gibberish. To an extent, strings will actually show you most of the API calls it's calling into Windows. Strings will actually, there are a lot of malware authors that actually leave their signatures in the ASCII strings for executables. It's not really a big thing anymore. It used to be a way to get your malware named what you wanted to get named. But nowadays, you find weird things in there. Like I read strings on an executable, and I wish I had a picture. It was quoting Pulp Fiction, and it was "Be cool, honey bunny." Like it just over and over and over again. I'm like, yo, who wrote this malware? Like, what's wrong with them? And I'd like to say the rest, but it's a little offensive. But it like over and over and over again. I'm like, what? There was a worm that came out called the Nadia worm, and it was called that because whoever wrote this loved this Bollywood actress named Nadia, and all through this worm was just like, I love you, Nadia, I love you, Nadia. Don't think she got the worm broke. Like, but yeah, so malware strings, you'll even find a directory path that was used to create the malware. It'll be fully obfuscated, but you'll actually find, like, and some of these directories go pretty deep. Like, you'll find actually the logic to their directory structure sometimes, but I found malware forums, like links or URLs to malware forums and some of this stuff. strings, not as important as it used to be, but it's still highly useful. If you're gonna like start trying to reverse it, it's a first step that's really good. So second tool is dump it. There's a ton of full memory dump utilities out there. I like this one because it's called dump it. That's it. It's down and dirty. It'll dump it. But good luck transferring all that data unless it's on multiple memory. So the third tool I'd like to talk about, and this is a lot more advanced than even Process Explorer or any system terminals tools, in my opinion. So when I first got on the malware response team, there was a set of tools that they were like, here, this is what we use. And I started evaluating these tools, and there's just not enough there for me to work with. I like to go really deep in the system. I like to really see what's going on. I like to find out how I can stop something. You can literally battle a piece of malware on a machine. It'll keep restarting itself. You have to find different ways to shut it down. One problem we were having was there was malware that was aware of some of the tools. Process Explorer, TDSS Killer, Gmer, there's like 4 or 5 other tools they specifically listened for, and we would execute them, and it would shut them down and remove executable flags. This is Windows. You double click on it again, it's like, sorry, you don't have rights to execute this anymore. It's like, oh, thanks. These tools specifically listen to this shit, and I was like, what are we gonna do? Like, we can't just tell these people to take their computers to the repair shop. So we started finding tools that go really deep into the system, and we started finding basically where they were listening. And with this tool I'm about to show you, you can actually, it'll highlight in red the kernel level call that it's basically listening on, and you can delete it. And then you can run your tools again after you set the permissions again. But there was a tool that we were using, and it was only x86, and it was blue screen x64 boxes. And that tool, I forget the name of it, is the reason I found this tool, because it was at a time where 64-bit, everyone was selling it, but no one knew what the hell it was. No one knew that, more memory, all this stuff. They were just shipping laptops out with it. Some people were debating whether 64-bit was even going to last in mainstream consumer culture at this point. But people were starting to build rootkits for 64-bit boxes, but no one was building tools for 64-bit boxes. And all these x86 tools are just blue screen and shit. All these x64 boxes. So please correct me all day on the pronunciation of this. So Zooter, it's probably pronounced differently. Renamed PC Hunter recently. So this tool, if you go to Zooter.com, it's completely in Mandarin. The site is hosted on mainland China. This is a really sketchy tool, but it's a really great tool, actually. There are some really great things out there, but they're a little sketchy. So this tool specifically runs, there's a 30-bit, 64-bit version, which is what I like about it. The download directory is literally just an index. There's no download page, it's just an index listing, and there's a pro version, apparently this guy's wanted to make some money. There's a pro version, a free version, and there's an SDK actually, and one of the versions actually has FireEye integration where it will send whatever file you want to a FireEye appliance, which, this being coded on mainland China, I have no idea what this guy's logic was, because it's kind of, and if this was a beer I'd drink, it's saying anti-APT, but it's kind of going against the grain a little bit. Maybe he was just sick of getting malware. Or she. So, in this case, we're looking at kernel modules. And as you can see by the tabs, you can literally look into ring 0, you can look directly into ring 3. You can look really, really deep on the system. This tool lets you disconnect anything on the system. This lets you go really deep. You can kill anything with this. The options are good. This is such a feature-rich application that I'm surprised no one else had heard about it before I found it. So we started using this a lot. As you can see, you can look at the processes, it tells what ring they have permissions for, and obviously this is PC Hunter because I can't understand what the hell it says. But it's just a really neat tool. And in a pinch, if you do need to get some kind of full examination report, and this is one of the best features of this damn product, It's not even a product, it's free. This is a free version, by the way. I'm not even sure what the pro version does because it's part of a reverse 64-bit with Mandarin mixed in. This will literally go through every single of those tabs and give you a full examination report of everything. So if you're in a pinch, you need to format the machine, your boss is yelling at you, whatever is going on, if you just need to get data, run this, and it will print out every single thing in all those tabs. And those tabs, I can actually open this up if I have a little time left, but it's really, really, really good tool. Now, it's a sketchy tool. Why is it sketchy? If you go out and find these tools, you need to treat every single one of them like a piece of malware from the get-go. Literally, everything I've talked about, do that with any of these tools you find. I mean, obviously, system terminals, you don't have to worry about it, except Microsoft data mining you maybe, but they do that anyways. If you're worried about China data mining you, or wherever you got the tool, hopefully you didn't get it from Romania, I trust it. Chinese software, a little more than Romanian software, but one thing about this tool is I ran Wireshark against it, and it calls out to China. The pro version calls out to like 4 or 5 different Chinese IPs, 112, but the free version calls out to like 1 or 2. Look, it's a sketchy tool, but it works great. How can you combat that? There's easy ways to combat it. I mean, what I did really was for us to use this on like customer networks and stuff. You can't have that. It's going to set off the regress filters or something. So what you do is you just null all those IPs out in the host file. You should be looking in the host file anyways, because the generic malware tricks, they forward things through the host file. In some cases, I've seen like 40 different major websites forwarded to like a Russian IP just through the host file. So you're looking there anyways. I just made a little batch file. It just echoes all these IPs and nulls them out in the file. And afterwards, look at it and remove them or not. It doesn't matter. If those IPs are blocked on that person's computer, all the better, actually. So those are entries you actually don't have to remove. But, no one knew this. I caught one of my team members using this before we were done testing it. First thing I did was throw it through my sandbox environment. Second thing I did was run it on a VM and look at it myself. So other great points about this sketchy piece of software is it self-obfuscates. So if you can see in the upper left-hand corner, every time you run it, it obfuscates its name. Basically to avoid tripwires where it's going to be shut down, because all really good tools eventually get blacklisted by malware authors. So it self-obfuscates. It drops its own driver when you run it. If you change the configuration on it, it actually drops a config file, so you can use that config again and take it with you other places. Really quickly, if I can do this. Sorry. This is it right here. And I'm not hooked up to the network, so I'm not really worried. But as you can see, it's finding itself. So one thing I'd like to hit on real quick is the file manager. There are some pieces of malware that hide themselves in really weird places on the system that you can't get to with spam prompts or explore.exe. Like, you just can't get to them. They're like manual shortcuts, stuff like that. Stuff like this doesn't use explore.exe. It looks at those shortcuts, like all the shortcuts that Windows 7 had to make to be compatible with Windows XP crap. It looks at those shortcuts as directories. So you can actually go into them, and those are very popular hiding places for malware because, well, you can't get into it. But this doesn't give a shit. This goes right in. Not only does it go right in, and pardon me for this, because I actually, this is not the screen I'm working on. So really what I'm looking for is any file. It gives you a bunch of attributes, and on top of that, this is the part I like the most. So there's there's various things you can do. It has delete and replace. So delete and lock. A common trick, if you're battling a piece of malware in the system, basically, and every time you delete this executable after you copy it, it keeps coming back. What are you going to do? Put a directory, name that executable in place, and they can't overwrite that. It's a little trick, but this uses the same type of deal, and I'm pretty sure, yeah, anyways, sorry about that. Usually it's in front of me. Another utility that's pretty neat, and everyone should use. So TCP view is basically a real-time netstat. You should use it. It's a good way to tell if boxes is infected immediately. First thing you should do, fire up TCP view. Guess what you're going to find? If it's part of a botnet, I call it the Christmas effect because in TCP view, when new connections come in, they're green. When they disconnect, they're red. If there's a worm on here, it's going to look like Christmas. If there's a pure botnet, if you're a pure botnet node, you're going to see a shit ton. I mean, this list is going to be real long, and they're going to be connecting, disconnecting, exchanging information. So initially, I mean, there's a bunch of little tools that you will learn that I'm going to run this first. I'm going to see what's going on. Doesn't look like a pure botnet. Doesn't look like worm, and change my approach completely. So little things like this really, really, really help out. If I can find on the slide. There we go. Yeah. Anyways, other tools you should look into, and some things will recognize from just security in general, but they can be used for malware analysis. Volatility, obviously, memory forensics, some of the best memory forensics framework on the planet. Kali, how could I use Kali to play with malware? Well, Metasploit. You can get Veil framework running, generate a bunch of payloads, and find out why they're not detected. Start diving into that logic. With Kali, you can also spoof DNS servers and stuff like that. So it's built for network interception and performing it against malware, basically. System terminals, Gmer, actually really good utility. If anyone knows what TDSS killer is, Kaspersky actually bought that technology from Gmer. Gmer is a great utility, has its own file browser. It immediately looks for rootkits, and it lets you dig into the system and delete services. It's not as feature-rich as PC Hunter, but in a snap, you can download it directly from the website and run it. And it self-obfuscates with just the name. It doesn't do it actually in the system. Kugu, a little rough to set up. Once you have it set up, beautiful thing to have. Sandboxing environment, Wireshark. If anything, just install it because fucking icon's a shark. So, Rednuts, great kind of response distro in regards to malware. It has volatility built in, a bunch of utilities. You're going to get really deep, reverse engineer deep. Play with Rednuts, play with it anyways. It's really neat. Helix is a forensic response distribution that digital forensic responders use. A lot of neat tools on there for imaging, stuff like that, even generating case files. I found that because I was using Helix and I was trying to get an image off HFS Plus. And Helix didn't have the right drivers built in. And I'm not going to install it on my hard drive, I'm going to boot to it every time. So I found Depth is another forensic distro. It has a different set of drivers. It's a lot more feature-rich than Helix because it's a lot newer. People just got sick of kind of the forensic distro standard and it built this. Plus, it has an 8-ball logo. Come on, how can you not run this? Higher boot CD. Very important, actually. There's a lot of good stuff on here. Higher boot CD is very important. If none of you have ever heard of it, check it out. It may be borderline illegal. It's not sketchy though. There's a difference. So the reason it's borderline illegal and not sketchy is because it has a mini version of Windows XP on it. And when I say mini, it's XP stripped down. It's like it literally runs out of a WIM file that you can actually track open and modify. It also has a Linux distribution, parted Linux that you can boot to for imaging and stuff like that. It has a 7-layer format on the first boot screen, basically, that you can just do, FBI standard format. I've never actually done it. I don't know if it works or not, but it's neat to have on there. The reason I bring up Hirons and I say it's one of the best on here is because it's fully customizable. They let you customize everything. It comes with like Opera, like you can initiate network and stuff from it, wireless and wired network. It comes with a version of TeamViewer installed on it. It comes with just, I think even there's a targeted version of Malware on there, but don't boot to a disk and run Malware. If you run AV from a bootable distro, please stand right here right now and see what happens. Don't do that. It's a bootable distro. Don't run AV from it. But Hirons boot CD ISO is 519 megs. We encountered a problem at my last job where we were having to basically it was the first stages of ransomware, and people didn't know what to do. And it was only the one where it takes over your screen, didn't encrypt your files. People didn't know how to get around that. It was coming up in safe mode. So with a remote office, how are you going to get to that? I was able to whittle this ISO down to 119 megs. I fully customized it to where I opened the WIM file and made it so as soon as you boot to it, and it was XP, not Linux, because there's just more tools for the XP version. I opened it and I made it auto-initiate network as soon as it booted, and the background was literally instructions on how to run TeamViewer. And TeamViewer was on the desktop, and just a bunch of different little response instructions on what to do with this and this and this, and our phone numbers and all this other stuff. But we were able to send this 119 meg ISO to a lot of people, rather than transferring 500 megs. So, if anything, it's a good kind of ghetto response distro. So you can just mangle it. It comes with some ancient version of Norton Ghost. If you look at the website, it lists everything that's on there, and everything that's on there is in 7-zip format. You can strip it out, which is what I did. So great response CD. Everyone should know about Hirons except Microsoft, but I'm not sure how they feel about XP. But yeah, any questions on any of this stuff? Good. Well, I'm going to keep talking for 3 more minutes. Gotcha. So, yeah. Here's an example, and maybe I can do this. So here's an example of an engagement. Wow, really? You can't see, I just drove a terminal window. It's not going to work. Anyways, so I'll just talk about this stuff. No. Yeah. Dude, really? Anyways, so if you have any questions or anything in regards to malware, hating people that don't know how to respond to malware, or putting best practices and policies in place, hit me up. If you have vulgar words for me on Twitter, I'll respond with vulgar words as well, with vulgar friends. But yeah, I hope everyone got something out of my talk today. I hope you all go slap your assistant manager in the face. They don't do any of this stuff. And thank you very much.